Hi everyone. I have decided to put together a series of mental health videos to assist releasing the mental health stigma which seems to exist in Korea. Um, I spent 6 years living in Japan years ago in my 20s when I was young and youthful. Um, and I know that back then you certainly never talked about mental health. And I'm guessing from what I'm gathering, it's very similar in Korea. There's a stigma attached to it. So I kind of want to make a few videos here to like help people who might be struggling or help people to know if their friends might be struggling and what might be the best approach to help people. Mental health illnesses do not go away on their own. They go away with treatment. It's not a case of man up and you'll be all right. It's a real commitment to looking after your mental health. I do have diagnoses of anxiety, depression, and PTSD. So I've had my own mental health struggles. I live a very carefully managed life to make sure that I stay on top of them. And I try to spend time doing things which I feel are important so that I feel like I really am keeping my meaning for life going. So I just want to talk a little bit about what some of the common signs of mental illness are, or what some of the most common mental illnesses are, really. Your biggest ones would be anxiety and depression. They're probably your first two, and they're the biggest ones that you would be looking at in the beginning. When we look at mental health and mental illness, we look at the time, we look at the duration, and we look at the impact. So having a bad day doesn't mean you have a mental illness. It's if you're having a bad time and it's over a period of time. So the duration usually exists for roughly a month of feeling a particular way, and it's starting to impact your life, and it's starting to negatively impact your life over that duration of time. So you start to realize that maybe you're withdrawing from things that you enjoyed in the past. Maybe you don't. Maybe you need to sleep more. Maybe you're eating less. Maybe you're eating too much. Maybe you don't feel like you've got any energy or any motivation, or maybe you're struggling to even engage with the things that you used to enjoy and suddenly you don't want to do those anymore. Maybe you have a general feeling of, unwellness, you feel fatigued, you feel like life is not worth living. All of those things are usually pretty good signs that things aren't going well. And I don't mean it's for a day, I mean it's for a period of time. And that's normally when it's a good time to go and see your doctor and ask for a mental health assessment. And the mental health assessment will ask various questions, and it will ask you how often you've been feeling like that. And what you need to do is obviously answer it as honestly as possible. And usually the treatment for mental illness, especially if it's something like anxiety or depression, is often it can be medication. And often it is also dedicated counselling for that too. All things that people will often think they don't need, because we've all been there. But the imbalance of having something like depression and anxiety is actually causing chemical changes in your brain where your serotonin and your endorphins are not being released in the way that they should. So you are feeling worse because your brain is not releasing the kind of chemicals it needs in order to keep you happy. So that's where things like antidepressants are incredibly helpful, and they do level you out. They won't make you high. You won't get addicted to them. You do have to wean off them if you want to wean off them later. But there's nothing wrong or, nothing cowardly about taking medicine. And the thing that we have to remember is that if you were a diabetic and you needed to take insulin to help your body produce the stuff that it needs in order to break glucose down in your blood, you wouldn't be like, oh, it's okay, I'll go for a walk, I'm sure I'll be okay, I don't need that medicine. We need to start seeing that mental health is the same thing. So if you have been diagnosed with a mental health illness, then taking the medicine is important. Refusing that medicine is like a diabetic turning down their insulin, and you wouldn't judge a diabetic for it. You would expect the diabetic would take the insulin. So it's really important we remove that stigma as well, that, oh, if you just toughen up a bit, you'll be okay and you won't need the medication. There are, of course, a number of things that you do. So when you do struggle with a mental illness, there are a number of lifestyle changes that you may also have to make in order to keep yourself healthy. So those things might include getting enough sleep, staying away from substances. We often find that when we're struggling mental health wise, that we turn to things like alcohol or other substances to make us feel better. We call this self-medicating. You're doing it to make yourself feel better, but it's not working. Alcohol is also a particularly one to be really cautious of, because while alcohol might seem like it gives people a better time, it is a depressant. And if you're already feeling bad and you drink, you're probably going to feel worse. So it's really important to remember that if you are diagnosed with a mental health condition, that looking at things like being careful how much you drink, not doing other drugs, which you probably can't get in Korea anyway, but not doing other drugs, making sure you get enough sleep, making sure that you exercise regularly. So for me, I have to work really, really hard to control my anxiety and depression, and I will exercise nearly every single day and work out nearly every single day. And I do that because it actually helps keep my mental health where it needs to be. Also, things like making sure that you're doing things that are in line with your values. So if you're living a life that's well within your purpose, or you're doing things that you feel are important or align with your passions, those things will also help improve your mental health. Making sure that you're also around really positive people is a big thing. When you're struggling with mental health, it's important that you're around supportive people and people that want the best for you, not people that are out there to judge you or people that are out there to criticize you for actually getting the help in the first place. I will go into each condition and make a short video about each one as we continue. Thank you for listening.